Well, welcome today to the inaugural podcast of Aging to Perfection. My name is Mel Seifert. I've been working in the aging industry for AARP Michigan for the last decade. So I've seen a few things, and I thought it's time to finally have some conversations around aging. I want to add some humor to this. We're going to have conversations about things that impact people as they age, not just in the aging older adult realm. So up first, I'm really excited about this topic. It's something that I think a lot of us went through during the pandemic. And the question I'm posing today is, does gray mean granny? And talking about embracing our true hair color, which I have not done ever in my life and not sure if I will, but let's start the conversation. So I have two lovely guests with me today. First, I have Erin Miner-Schuler, and she is an expert when it comes to hairstyles and coloring. She has about 28 years in the industry. So Erin, would you mind introducing yourself and just sharing a little bit about?
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
My name's Erin Schuler, and I've been in this industry for quite a while, over a quarter century. So, call me an expert if you want, but I don't know. I travel from Michigan, my hometown, to Florida every month and work on my clients down there. And I work here privately, and happy to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so any snowbirds that are listening, we have the hookup for you now. If you're heading down to Florida in the winter, we'll get you Erin's number. And then here today we have the most lovely silver fox that I've ever met in my life, Lori Hornbeck, who decided to embrace her true color. And we just wanted to chat with you about this as well. So would you mind introducing yourself?
Well, thank you, Melissa. That made my day.
Yeah, right.
I have been gray for about 7 or 8 years. I had to think about it. But I was a trainer with the state of Michigan for 26 years. And it just got to the point where I got sick of coloring my hair.
Yeah.
And, I finally decided, what the heck? I'm going to do it. And I didn't realize what the journey was going to be like, and you'll speak to that. But it was an interesting journey.
Yeah, and just the choice, to go that way after doing something for so long. And there's so many preconceived notions with aging, and I think that, going gray is one of them. And we kind of chatted about this prior, but just the difference between if a man goes gray, it's distinguished, right? If a woman goes gray, that tells a whole different story. And so I really wanted to talk about that. So how do you make this choice? What is the process, Erin, to go through this? Is it hard? Is it easy? Walk us through what these steps are if you want to go this route.
The transition is different for everyone, like you figured out. There is no one solution for everyone, so you have to speak to your professional. That's the first thing. But, COVID kind of pushed us into this, we didn't have access to hair color for a little while, and people started to see their natural hair and whether they could embrace it or not. And then some young kids started to show up with this silver gray trend, and it's like, why can't I do that? So it kind of seemed like that's the trend that started within the last 4 or 5 years. And then the industry, kind of listened to the demand and came out with some really awesome toners and direct colors to help with the transition, and which we didn't really have in the past. So then we could transition people a lot easier, and it's been really nice. So some people just go cold turkey and deal with it. Other people seek out professionals and get some highlights and lots of different ways to go about it. But it's been really successful, and it's been really, truly, people have to embrace it, own it, and feel confident, because it's very empowering to just go, you know what, I'm done.
I love that. That's what this is about.
It is.
Empowering people as they go through the aging process. So you are seeing a bit of a trend with this since the pandemic. People are really embracing this. And I know you did it. You just said a week before the pandemic, you got your first, strip job, if you will.
Yeah, right?
Well, let me kind of back up. First off, I consulted 3 different professionals, because I thought you could just walk into a beauty salon, they could put a rinse on your hair that's the color of your roots, and voila, you're gray and it'll grow out.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No. That's not the way it works. And so I had to think about it for a while. And once I did it, I started doing it. It's a shock. I will tell people it's mirror shock. That's the way I look in the mirror, and I'd look at myself and say, whoa, that's not me. I had dark brown hair.
Right.
And to go from dark brown hair to gray was a difference. But one thing I want to clarify, when we talk about granny aging, many of my friends that are grandparents, and I'm jealous on that because I don't have grandkids, and I wish I did, but many of them have embraced it. I was the first one of my friends that did it, and they're all like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to do this. And, once I went through the whole thing, it took me about a year maybe, but this was 7 or 8 years ago. So today I'm sure the process is even
If you're going to grow out, it's about a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I had them stripping it and doing all that. Right. So, but I mean, you have the benefit of technology and everything else that has changed, and they're always coming out with new stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, I did it right before COVID, so they're certainly not worried about gray hair when the world is going through a massive pandemic.
I still was, Lori. I know it's terrible to say, but we still had the Zooms, and you had to be front and center, so it was a little concerning, I think. But yes, no, I completely agree. Was the least of our problems during that time.
But there's a psychological piece to this, and that is you have to get accustomed to the way you look. Because suddenly I'm not looking like the person I've always thought I have been.
Yeah.
Professionally, socially, whatever. And that takes a little bit of time. So it's almost better that it does take you a little bit of time to do, because your body and your mind kind of have to go together on this.
That's a really good point.
I mean, I'd never go back. I was swimming at that time, before the pandemic hit. I would go 4 days a week before work. And putting color in my hair, you can imagine how quickly the color, I was coloring my hair constantly because the chlorine just, does. And I just got to the point, I said, enough. I've got to do something here. And I don't want to spend my life coloring my hair anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just at the point I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And, and it was the right decision. But it took some thinking, and it took some getting used to.
Right. Sure. Which is kind of sad to think about, that we have to be so hyper-focused on what the image that we put forward is, because we actually have naturally gray hair or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it just begs the question, I think, and I was thinking about this from a standpoint of, I know you were still working when you went and decided to go gray, but I wonder how many women out there are kind of rethinking that, if they're going to have discrimination in the workplace if they embrace their gray hair. I have the liberty of working for AARP, so we really don't have any age discrimination. We fight against it constantly, but I think that begs the question, are people, is gray mean granny? No. I'm seeing people on TikTok all the time. This one woman, I love her. She has the most Dior fashion clothes, all couture, and has beautiful gray hair, and it's just living her best life. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that? Do you think a lot of people are taking a pause to going gray because they're worried about that?
Yep. And I think it's very, like you're just saying, empowering, and you have to be confident wearing it. And that's really, at the end of the day, if you're asking your friends what they think of it, it's like, don't do that.
Right.
It's like, you need to own it, wear it, and move forward. And it's kind of like, it's going to take a while, and it can be, back to the point of, very expensive. If you go in and you want the one day, and it's not good for your hair necessarily either. You may, a light-haired person might be able to get away with it a lot easier, but it's not a one-day thing, and that is definitely something that people need to know.
Yeah.
It's don't walk in and go, I thought we could do this today, and it's like, no, actually.
No.
And there is a few people out there that are doing it very well, but the quality of hair suffers at the end of the day.
And so that wasn't even a thought for you, worrying about age discrimination or what perception would be of you?
Yes, it was.
Oh, was it? Okay.
A bit, because at that point in time, I was kind of deciding I didn't want to do what I was doing I want to do something else at the state. And I knew that as soon as the way the process is there, you submit your stuff in through NeoGov and all that. When people see, they know automatically how old you are. Yeah. But if I go into an interview, there is a preperception there, like, oh my God, how long are they going to be with me? Well, and I would point out that many times older people are probably going to last longer because younger people are moving up. The way the job situations are today, nobody stays in jobs, and that's just the way it is. It's not good, bad, or indifferent. Right. It just is. And you have to look beyond that and look at, okay, what kind of experience does this person come to the table with that somebody younger wouldn't have? Right. But it's hard to deal with. But you get to a point. You're right. You have to totally get over the whole thing and just move on. Mm-hmm. And do what you want to do. It took me a while, but then once I embraced it, I'm like, fine.
Yeah,
this is the way
this
it
is
is.
what it is.
And so many people came up to me after and said, I'm going to do this. But I just warned them, it's expensive. It is expensive. It takes some time. Go talk to a professional. Think it through before you do it. I never did it, but boy, if you could go and they could give you some wigs or something to put on, just
That's
to
the
sort
first thing.
yeah,
Sure.
so you could
That's
see.
a good idea.
So you can see what you're actually going to look like,
Right. Well-
and say, okay,
But everybody's
Yeah.
gray is different, and it could come in just in the front patch for you.
Yep.
If you haven't
Right.
ever explored, like maybe you have one really cool front money piece. It's
Yeah.
like, hey,
What's a money piece?
right,
this-
just the
this-
piece
this
right.
one.
It's an
Yeah.
expensive front piece.
Yeah.
That looks really nice and
I
frames
love
your
it.
face.
I like that term.
I love it. I do too.
We can make it look expensive.
Yeah.
And exciting, and
So you had said too that what the color that you grow is the color that's going to look best on you. And let me tell you, the color that I grow, I've been denying that color probably for my entire adult life. So could you just
your color plus some enhancements,
Yes.
maybe. Let's say that.
Okay.
No, going back to it, it's gray hair looks best on every skin tone. It can, if it's your own gray. You grow it, your skin changes with it, and it complements.
Yeah. Lori's got great gray hair. It's
And
gorgeous.
it complements her skin.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful on her.
It does.
And that's the way that nature works.
Oh, well, I love that. I don't know if I'm ready. Maybe someday. But, I just love taking control over what this looks like, that you don't have to think that Granny is gray or gray is Granny, forgive me. So that's the answer to the question. But once you go gray, can you go back to coloring it again and
Absolutely.
change it up? Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of how we self-express,
Yeah.
Hair color is a self-expression. So therefore, it's like normalizing it. These young girls made it, part of our normal society, seeing it in advertisements and TikToks and whatnot. And then now if we're all used to seeing it, you may not get, profiled when you go in and go, oh, she's how
Right.
old? Because
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that are young that have embraced their gray.
Yeah.
So
color change of hair color today is so normal. In fact, I mean, how many people that are gray come in with purple hair, blue hair?
Right.
Yeah.
And I've thought about doing it, and my husband's like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "No, I think sooner or later I'm just going to do it just for fun. Put a rinse in,
sure.
takes it, goes out quickly." But you see, and you have, it's really easy to do because you're just going to go back to what you had. It's not going to, it's not like having brown hair and then putting purple in it
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
So I think today it's easier. I think it was getting easier when I did it, but I think now because of COVID, because young people have embraced it and all these other different things,
Yeah.
I think if you're thinking about it out there, do it. Try it. And
Try
see.
it.
Try it.
You can always go back.
I was telling Melissa and Aaron before we got on air that I used to crack the ladies up in the salon when I was having it stripped, because I said, whatever you do, and they say, what's the look you want to go for? And I said, just don't want to look like a skunk.
Right.
And they would just roar in laughter. But I was thinking of just having the white on the top and then dark brown on the bottom, and I just did not want that. That it was too shocking. I wanted
Yeah.
something gradual. The back of my hair, and my beautician keeps telling me this is normal. I have a patch of brown underneath that's blended in with the gray, and that's normal. She
Yeah.
says everybody does, because I'm like, why don't we color this out? She said, no, that's the way
That's your hair.
that's your gray hair. That's the way your gray goes. If
love
I took
this.
my hair down right now, I could show you.
Yeah.
There's a patch right back, like at the center of my back. That's where mine is. I don't know.
Yeah.
a lot of people keep their natural color in the back longer than the front. Right where you see
Yeah.
it,
I know.
When people are covering their gray, they're like, why in the front?
Right.
And I'm like,
What?
I don't
This
know.
is what it is. This is
It
who
is.
you are.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So wrapping up this awesome conversation that has just made me really rethink. I don't know if I have gray. Like I said, I've been denying whatever is underneath all of this for years. So who knows? But what's your last kind of tip for people that are thinking about doing this, and how would you encourage them if this is the path they want to go?
I would say, if you're at all even thinking about it, go seek a professional, have a consultation, see if it fits in your budget. If you are tired of coloring your hair and you want to take on something new, own it. And
Own it.
Don't ask what everyone thinks, because honestly, you might not like what everybody thinks, but if you like it,
Right.
that's what it's all about.
I love it. And
Empowering
Lori,
the age.
I just totally agree with that. But
Yeah.
and I would go the other route. I would see if I could get a gray wig just to put on, just to see what you
Yeah.
look like. I wish I had done that. But at the time, I never thought of it. But yes, definitely consult somebody, find out the cost because it is costly, and have the time frame of how, what you're going to have to go through, what your hair is going to go through, all that. You need to educate yourself before you get to that point that you just say, I'm going to go for it.
awesome. Well, Erin and Lori, I have loved having you on this first episode. I think it's such an important conversation to have, to really embrace who you are as you go through this journey of aging. Again, this whole podcast is really about leveraging some humor, some information, some news you can use, but also at the same time making sure that we're aging with purpose and dignity and empowering people to do so. So again, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And, gray does not mean granny. So
Absolutely
let's
not.
go do this, guys. Thank you.